Hey YouTube, so today I'm going to do a ball python care video because I've been getting like a billion requests for it like every day, and I haven't made a really good educational video in a while, just mostly stuff about what's happening. So ball pythons are pretty popular pets. Many people have one if they have a pet snake. They're probably one of the most popular, if not the most popular. I just came home from the Reptile Expo, as you can see with my last video, and the whole expo is just like ball pythons. And I was looking for the stuff in between the ball pythons because I was hoping to find a blue beauty rat snake today, but I could not find one, so maybe next year I'll be looking into getting one of those. They're very cool snakes, but that's another video. I think the best thing to do before you get one is to research as much as you can. You can use the internet, and I know I'm going to sound like a librarian, but like books are the best way to research a species care. And I understand, like when we're doing school projects, like if I have to research the Civil War, I'm not going to look it up in a book. I'm going to search it online. And I managed to pass. But with ball python care and any animal care, I would definitely recommend buying some books because they offer the best information. And if you're really serious about owning something, that it's a living, breathing life form, not your grade. So a couple of ball python books I have that I found. I have like 10, but I can only find like 4 today. There's a really, really short one I have. It's by people that I can't pronounce their last name. Good book. It's kind of short, just a brief overview. Here's another one you guys might know. This is like a pretty well-known one. The only complaint I have about it is it's very short. It didn't have as much information as I expected it to. Then I have a really cool book on all the morphs of ball pythons. This is like an $80 book, and it's out of print, so don't be looking for it. Well, now that I have completely dropped it and I don't feel like getting it up. Anyway, and then, so that's all on the morphs of ball pythons, so if you're looking into getting like breeding ball pythons, then I definitely recommend to get that. And then there's the best one, in my opinion, is the complete ball python. I believe this is $60. I'm not sure, it doesn't say. Sometimes books say how much they're worth. But this is a very, very good book. It's like super long, and it just offers like really everything you need to know, from like genetics of them, care, maintenance, medicine, vets. Very, very good book. So if you're going to get a ball python, please do your research. Do not rely on me solely for your information, or really anybody on YouTube, because you should form your own opinions, not listen to others. So books are pretty neutral. That's where I get kind of most of my knowledge from, and also experience owning them, but that's another story. So now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to show you the proper way to set up your ball python. So ball pythons can be housed in 2 different types of setups. They can be housed in tanks like Felix's, my jungle carpet python. That's a temporary tank, but they can be housed in tanks. Cage sizes, like gallon sizes for tanks, the best size would be anywhere from 30 to 40 gallons for an adult female. Or male, but an adult female that gets like the size of Cyclops needs like a 50 or 60 gallon enclosure. So this is Paisley, for those of you who do not know. Ball pythons also do very, very well in racks, just because they like to be in dark, warm places, and they don't really like to be disturbed too much. So the best bedding, in my opinion, for ball pythons is either aspen. I've heard cypress mulch works very well. I just don't use it because I don't have it. Paper towels can work. I've heard people can use dirt. I don't exactly agree with that, but you can use that. But I just use aspen because it's easy. The only thing is you can't feed your snake on the bedding. You have to take it out and put it in a separate bin, offer it food, and then put it back in. Like all those bins right there are my snake feeding bins, like down there too. Oh god, it's blurry. And so that's how I feed my snakes. So if you want to feed your snake in a cage, keep it on paper. Ball pythons obviously need a water dish. I recommend that you give it a water dish that it can properly soak in, so like it can get its entire self in. Paisley here can fit in her water bowl, and she's very, very cute. She's looking at me like, do you have food? I think you have food. I'm not sure. And obviously a hide box. So, like in my last video of like pickups, I just got these hides. not these, like, in there. But these hides are the best. They're by Reptile Basics, not Animal Plastics. I messed that up. They're made in Pakistan. They're just so cheap, and they're so, like, durable, and they're so easy to clean, and I just really, really like them. They're dark. They're not exactly aesthetically pleasing, but they do the job, and I've never had a problem with them. For temperatures, I would recommend that a hot spot of 92 to 95 degrees and a cool spot of 78 to 80 degrees. So Paisley's hide is at 92 to 95 degrees, and over here is around 78 to 80 degrees. When you're housing them in an enclosure like a tank, what I would do is offer a hide there and a hide over there. The only reason Felix doesn't have a hide is because I just got him a new one, and I'll be putting that in after this video. But if you keep them in a tank, make it so they can have a choice between what temperature they want to hide at. In a rack, they're basically hiding all day. It's just best to give them a hide. So that's really how to house a ball python. It's not very hard. If you're keeping them in a tank, you can use a heat pad or a heat light. And if you're keeping them in a rack, I'm sorry, I'm really tired. If you're keeping them in a rack, I use heat cable to heat the vision racks. You can use FlexSpot. If you use a thermostat, you can use under tank heaters and racks. I don't know. Just make sure that you follow the rack safety manual. Like, vision racks are only supposed to be used with a certain type of heating. And Paisley thinks she's coming out to eat, even though she just ate like 2 days ago. Hello. She wants to kill me. But yeah, so Paisley is quite large, but a 42-quart tub is perfect for an adult ball python, and she totally just turned like, oh, you're warm. I think you're food. Okay. And then make sure whenever you keep them indoors that you always close the doors carefully. Stop it! Stop! Okay. Well, I didn't shut it on her. She's like, fine. See? I didn't shut it on her. She's fine. I just stopped right before. Hey. You! You're supposed to go back home. Well, anyway, always make sure that you are careful when you are putting the drawer back if you keep them in drawers, and make sure you lock tanks because snakes can get out. So now I'm actually going to show you how to handle my ball pythons, or ball pythons, not mine, and I'm actually just going to show you each and every one of mine, so stay tuned. So now I'm going to show you how to handle your ball python. It's not very hard. When you're getting them out of the cage, what you're going to want to do, I'm going to carry you with me. You can have a hook. It's kind of like an optional thing. I don't use hooks, but if you are most comfortable using a hook, then go ahead, because that's the least likely way you're going to get. I'm trying to see if I can do this. Okay. Woo! Okay, so just saw Paisley in the last video. So Paisley right now, she's completely revved up. She thinks she's eating, and so what you want to do is you want to like snap her out of it, because they will bite because they can see the heat, and you kind of just pick them up with the hook and carry them on out. She's going to lift the hide with her. But that's how to get a ball python. This is my newest ball python I just showed you in the earliest video. I'm really not supposed to be handling her right now, but I'm just going to leave her alone for the rest of the week anyway. She is a lesser female, and she has a possible het for clown, so I'll have to prove that out next year or so, which will be fun. I got her for $425. I bargained with the breeder. I convinced him. He was selling her for $450, and I only brought $400. And so my mom agreed to pay for part of it, or lend part of it. But I got him to cut it down to like $425, which is really nice. Good deal. Very pretty white belly. And so that's one of the coolest morphs that I think I have, just because I love lessers. And it's just so pretty. And she's much lighter than normal lessers. I've seen other lessers, and she's just very light and pretty. So that is her. So now I'm going to talk to you about feeding your ball python. I'm really sorry. I found like really congested and stuff. I had really bad allergies. Like, I'm really just not feeling it today. Anyway, ball pythons will go off feed. That's just something you have to learn to expect. When they do go off feed, I think the best thing to worry about is just their weight. If they're off feed, weigh them every week and just make sure they're not dropping more than 10% of their body weight at all. So if they started at 1,000 grams, do not let them, if they drop down to, oh god, math, 900 grams, worry about it because then they're starting to lose weight. My rule of thumb is if the ball python goes off feed for more than 2 months at a time, I will take it to the vet and just give it an overall wellness exam. And if they get a clean bill of health, I don't worry about it. You just keep offering food, and eventually they start eating. But that's something that ball pythons usually like get a bad rep for because they just don't eat every day or every week in the captivity because they wouldn't do that in the wild. And so that's just something you need to worry about if you are kind of like a worried reptile owner. I would definitely recommend like thinking about it before you get one of these because they can be quite worrisome. But yeah, other than that, just make sure you get them on rats before they're like 600 grams or else like they're going to fixate on mice and you're never going to be able to get them there. And just make sure you give them the proper habitat and do not handle them if they're not eating. So if they're off food, don't handle them. That's the best thing to do. And yeah, pretty much everything. Heat up the rodent before you offer it to them because they tend to go after that more. And don't give live food if you can because it's not the best for them. But whatever you want, you can give them to that. But yeah, YouTube, thank you for watching. This was my ball python care video. Comment, rate, subscribe, and request videos on my Instagram, in personal messages, or on my discussion page. Yeah.